Hey, it's Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it is Tuesday. It's September 12th. This will be our chart lesson for today, and I'm slightly better today, not a lot, so I'm doing this really early, and I'm getting out of here. 2 or 3 hours is about all I can handle at a time right now, so it's probably going to be like that the rest of the week. I'm trying to come in around in time to do the mid-morning chart, and then hang around for a couple hours, and then um, uh, do the afternoon chart lesson, and then I'm trying to get out of here. So if I'm feeling like I am today, I'll probably do the same tomorrow. If it catches up to me and I'm not feeling as good, I may not. So it's still kind of hit or miss. But that's kind of the plan this week, is to come in around 9 o'clock and try to get out of here by 3 or 4. So a few hours is about all I can do right now. Anyway, I didn't trade again today. I'm not feeling up to it. So anytime you're not feeling good or you're not 100% mentally, don't trade, because you're just asking for trouble. And I know better. I've learned my lesson. There'll be a trading day tomorrow. There'll be another one the next day, and there'll be many more after that. So never press yourself to trade. When you're not 100%, just don't trade. And I just didn't trade today. I took care of other stuff that I've been needing to take care of. So anyway, let's get to the chart lesson. You can see on the daily here another down day. So far, it's just an inside day. Uh, it's pretty negative as far as the chart looks. So let's flip over there to the 2000 tick intraday chart and take. Okay, here we are. We started out what looked like was going to be a range. We had a breakout that failed, reversed, came back, tested the highs again, failed, and then we went lower. There was a channel that worked down here. We did get a break, 2 legs up, and then 2 legs down to a new low, and then we rallied somewhat after that. I wouldn't call that a rally, but we bounced off the lows is the way I would uh, describe that. So this was obviously a valid channel. Originally, I had it drawn more like this, but obviously, once it expanded, it just kind of doubled, and you can see that there. And so I just moved the line down. And generally, the best way to do that, if you have our software, is just when you have it like so, do the measured move, and then you can see the line. It'll just put it down there for you. And then, if that turns out to be the other side, then you can just kind of adjust it like so. And that's how I do it. Uh, but it just turned out to be a two-tiered channel, and this was just the first side of it. But we didn't really know that till we continued to push lower here. So that's how I saw it. Um, Even though we're sideways here, there's still a downward bias, and you can see we're making lower highs here and lower lows, and then we finally drop on down. We don't fall far below that support level, and then we bounce, but we find instant resistance right up there at the highs again, and sells off again. So that's how I saw it. Not a lot of trades today. The volume was really low starting off. It picked up a little bit in the afternoon, but early on the volume was really low. And I don't know if that has to do with rollover or not, but it doesn't really matter. What we're going to do is we're going to take what the price action gives us, and we're going to go where it takes us, and we're going to trade what it gives us. So that's all we can do. So that's generally got to be our plan. While we always want to be thinking ahead and trying to decipher where we think prices are going based on what the chart's showing us, um, never go with what you think, go with what the chart shows you. So I know that's kind of a conflicting statement, but with time and experience, you can start to do that. Just be careful trusting your gut instinct sometimes, because it can be right. Sometimes you can really kind of start to get in the flow with the price action, and it just comes natural almost. It'll feel easy. And then some days it just feels like you can't get in the flow at all. And it's just the way it goes. And if you're having one of those days, be very careful. If you're having one of those good days, just go with it. Take what it'll give you, and every setup it gives you, take it. because those days are magical, but they happen. And some days are easier than others. But anyway, let's get through the trades. I want to wrap this up and get out of here. I'm feeling better, but I'm not 100%. So um, I don't want to push my luck. I want to get out of here and get. I need to, I just need to be resting more than probably what I'm doing. So anyway, let's zoom in here. First trade. We were working down here. Even though we're working sideways, you still get a little failed break lower. This made a new low. If you notice it, we're making lower lows each time. So that makes me a little nervous of going long there. You generally like to have a higher low, but sometimes these failed breakouts will lead to a big reversal. So maybe you take that. There's a lot of room back to the EMA. We've been going back and forth. We close back inside. There's a good chance we're at least going back to the EMA or the midline and probably all the way back to the top, which you see is what happened. So maybe you take that trade. I marked it green, but once it comes back, you get a clear triple test with a big bearish bar here. I like going short on that one. Now you don't know for sure that it's going to go lower, but it's already broke through, so it's probably already cleaned out a lot of the buy and sell stops here. So there's a good chance it can at least reach that same level and maybe go further, and that's what happens. This was the trade of the morning. If you took that trade, maybe all you needed, because you probably got a runner on that. Then it bounces, comes back, and then we're just kind of chopping along in the middle here. And this is where it gets dangerous. You got to be real careful going long into that, and you got to be careful going short into that. So, but notice what happens. We start making lower lows, and you get this trend channel here, trend line, and each time we make a swing back, we're making a lower high now. That's a good sign. And we also couldn't get back above that midline 1, 2, 3 times here. And you also have, I mean, you could almost call that a first entry, second entry. Doesn't really matter because you could call this a first entry, second entry failure. It broke higher and turned down. I wouldn't have a problem trading that on the engulfing bar either, or you could wait for it to close. But this is really almost sideways in a double bottom, so this looks more like the second entry right here with a nice signal bar. And again, right off the key entry point, I like that one even better, and you can see that's when it takes off. So I marked this one green. It's a little bit early, but there's a lot of reason to still like it. But when you see this next one, you just got to take that one. And of course, it drops all the way down, and we go right through the support of what looks like the overnight low there. And we're just we continue to, and that's when you would expand this channel, and we continue to just chop lower. I don't see anything in here. You got to be careful going short right into that or going long right into that. Most breakouts fail. This one's really tempting as a higher low and a second entry. And if you took that one, I wouldn't have a problem with it. You could argue for that one. Again, it's clearly a second entry long, and you hope for a failed breakout. But this channel here also concerns me because we haven't even been able to get back above the midline of that channel. So maybe you take that long, but when it turns back down, you don't want to go short there right into that support. But notice that you get another move back, and this time the support kind of acts as resistance. And there's also a hidden second entry there, and this actually breaks higher and then turns down. I don't know if I'd trade that one on the engulfing bar because of so much stem there. But I think it closed bearish enough. If it breaks below that, it's probably going to go on lower. And so maybe you take that one. I marked it green. And I'm not real, neither one of them are super great setups. Maybe this one might be closer to blue than this one is to red, though. But then we bounce. I don't see anything in there. I want to buy all the way up. You get the close outside again. You got this channel working lower. There's no break of it. There's no close outside. We're back down below the EMA. I just don't think, even though you got a little bit of a trap there, I don't think you can take that. You need a higher low, which comes right here. And again, it breaks lower and turns up. I like going long above that bar. And then I put this arrow here because I'm sure there's a bunch of people that probably went long there. I've already gotten one question about it. even though that looks like a great move, or it is a great move, this is not a good setup. There's too much resistance across there. It's right into the middle. Look how many times we've turned down. Uh, that's a dangerous trade. Many times that'll fail and turn down and stop you out. So don't take that trade. And that's why I put that red arrow there just to remind myself. But you do get the break, move to a new high. But I think this kind of acts as a separate channel, trend channel working up here too. You get to close outside. You try to make a new high and you make a lower high. Maybe you go short there. I think it's a little risky. Okay, had a slight interruption there, but you got a lower high here. Maybe you take that, but when you get that triple test, I like going short right there. And that's probably the next best trade of the day. Bottom drops on out, and you kind of find your usual support here. I'm wary of trying to buy this down here because there's still a chance we're going to try to retest this low here. So I would just kind of sit tight. This is all too congested anyway. There's no real rejection down here. And you see if you tried to go long, you probably get burned here. And then, of course, it pushes through and pulls back and tests it from the underside. Breaks higher first and then turns down. I like going short right there. It's a little bit risky because you're going short at the low of the move, on the very low of the bar as well. So that's always risky. So for that reason, I made it green. But there's a good chance you're going to retest this low. We're so close now. And that pull back and test that turn prices instantly lower is a good sign. So maybe you take that one. And then we just continue to chop lower, too far away from the EMA. I don't see anything else in here that I would risk. And that takes us into 230. So not the best trading day. There's a couple of decent trades in there. It is kind of a slow, methodical day. The volume was real low early on. It kind of picked up later as we talked about, but just kind of a slow. It's rollover time, so that probably has something to do with it. Anyway, I'm going to wrap it up here and get home, get me some rest, and see if I continue to get better tomorrow. So if I'm continuing to feel like I am, I'll probably do the same thing tomorrow. If you don't see me, you'll know I probably wasn't feeling up to it. But I'm slowly getting better. Hopefully another week or so I'll be back. By this time next week, I'll be back in the saddle and feeling better. But I'm going to wrap it up. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.